That's it?
No, I actually have two more, but
Sure.
one is Russia related.
Okay, go
I
ahead.
saw the embassy in Moscow put out a statement, the ambassador put out a statement
Right.
today about the closure of the American Center at University in Moscow. I don't expect that you'll have much more to say than what the ambassador Taft had to say about that, but as we all know, diplomacy is often run on, or mostly, largely run on reciprocity. Are there any plans for the U.S.? Actually, I'm not sure there are any similar facilities or Russian facilities in the United States, but is there any action plan to take in response to this?
I mean, I can't, I don't have anything to announce, certainly, or anything to even preview. I think, Ambassador Taft's statement, as you mentioned, speaks for itself. This comes on the heels of last year's unfortunate decision by the Russian government to close down the Future Leaders Exchange Program, the Flex Exchange Program. And as he stated, it calls into question Russian government's commitment to maintaining people-to-people ties with the United States. And this is the closing. I was trying to get the statistic that I could give out if I got asked this question. But, we've seen a systematic closing down or shutting down of our American centers over the past couple of years. This is only I think the final straw. That these are simply places where Russian citizens can get information about the United States and are able to learn more about American culture, politics, whatever. And the fact that they're being systematically pressured to shut down is just a really unfortunate phenomenon. But I can't speak to any kind of reciprocity.
Okay.
Nothing to.
Well, okay, so here you have the Russians, by what you're saying is they're shutting down these people-to-people exchanges. It's a very unfortunate thing. It's a systematic effort to try and claim, and yet at the same time, you're perfectly willing to have a military-to-military dialogue with Russia on Syria.
Well, again,
I mean, I can understand that they're two completely separate things, but on one hand, you are essentially welcoming this proposal from the Russians to have this dialogue on Syria, and at the same time, you're saying that the Russians are not interested in having a dialogue with the American people because they keep shutting down these centers. So I don't know. It just seems to me they're either the Russians are being inconsistent or you guys are being inconsistent and not understanding exactly what's going on.
I think we've spoken to this many times, including when Secretary Kerry traveled to Sochi to speak with President Putin. And it is simply the fact that, as we've seen with Iran and also seen with Ukraine, we have areas where we vehemently disagree with Russia's actions. And I'm speaking specifically about Eastern Ukraine. But there are areas like Iran, preventing Iran from getting a nuclear weapon, where we seek their cooperation because we both have the same goal in mind. And I agree with you to a point. I think what is happening now, we believe what is happening now in the United States, in terms of closing that information space and that free information space in Russia is concerning. That's a much broader topic about the state of, frankly, Russia's democracy. But what you're talking about in terms of military to military conversations apropos to Syria, as the secretary said upstairs just a little while ago, it's about deconfliction. It's about getting a clear understanding of what their intentions are.
I understand that, but you
have to be able to do that
on one hand.
Diplomacy.
On one hand, yes, but on one hand, you're accusing the Russians of being hostile to the U.S. by systematically closing down these centers. And I don't think it's a leap to say that critics are going to be looking at this and saying, well, if you're accusing them of being hostile, what on earth makes you think that they are not going to be that they're going to be doing something different in term vis-a-vis Syria?
Well, again, I mean, I think you have to be able to send a clear message when where you disagree, but also leave the door open for conversations, because you need to be able to have those conversations in order to move forward in a diplomatic way. Please, in the back.